Hello again. This is Robo Minds and the Headlines, and I'm with my good friend here, Teresa Paul, who is in Colorado, and we were talking about weather and altitudes before he came onto the call. I'm sure we'll weave that into our topic today. But Teresa brought up last week or last time that we were talking about soul integration and what that means. And it got me thinking about a topic that I've been reading a lot about because I have clients that are dealing with burnout. And the headlines were very interesting. Healthcare workers switching jobs due to burnout. Job hugging as a new work trend. Instead of jumping from job to job, many people are staying in unsatisfying roles out of fear of instability or uncertainty. And finally, this one from The Guardian, healing burnout without expensive breaks. Um, it says that, self-care is everything, even though you can't leave it up to the company to be concerned about your wellness. It's great if they are, but we need to make incremental shifts. And this quote, which I shared with Teresa, because it speaks to her and her this concept of soul integration that she's introduced. Burnout is nature's way of telling you you've been going through the motions, your soul has departed. So, what this means from the guy that said it, um, it's shorthand for losing your authentic self, your deepest values, your spark. When burnout sets in, you lose contact with that essence. You are no longer animated by joy, curiosity, or meaning. You're essentially an empty vessel moving through these routines. And I think that is in a way the best description of burnout. It isn't just a toxic workplace and or I'm working too hard or they want me to work too hard. I mean, right, Teresa, you were saying we blame it on the external stuff like the company, the boss, the team, but it really is a self-inflicting something injury.
Well, sure, because we allow it, right? We allow it. And, I don't like to think of it as a soul departure. That to me is like the last straw.
The
But
extreme.
more if we cease to listen to that voice that has our best interest in mind. We cease to listen to our soul, right? And I was talking about, the story about, put a frog in a boiling pot of water, he'll jump out. Put a frog in just water and increase the temperature gradually, he'll sit there until he boils. And
Mhm.
and that's what we do to ourselves. It
Yeah,
really is our own fault. People
yeah.
are going to be who they're going to be. But the good news is that we can do something about it in that case, right? We can
Mhm.
take responsibility. And I think it's a huge awareness. Like
Mhm.
when you compromise yourself, your standards, who you are for someone else or for a job, you need to be aware that you're doing that,
Mhm.
right? Because that compromise, that unconscious compromise chips away at you.
Yeah.
And that's where burnout starts. And then you accept it as a way of life.
Yeah.
I remember when I left corporate America in 2021, was, right in the middle of COVID. Um, and I thought, oh, I'm going to start this new adventure. I was really excited. But once I said I quit, like this energy just drained from me. I didn't even realize that I'd been carrying around all of this burnout energy and I couldn't move. Like
No.
I tried to do stuff and I tried to create, but I'd used up so much energy in this awful situation in this awful place that I didn't
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it
did
took
they
me.
care? Did they
Yeah.
give it to me? No, no, that was my burden to carry. And it was awful. And it
Yes.
took me a long time because I wasn't aware of what it actually was or what
The
to do about
weight, right? It's almost like that game where you have to pull out things and finally, it falls apart.
it. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I mean, was I relieved? Yes, but I was lost because we think of it as losing our identity. Well, I think you've lost it in touch with that soul. And it does take time. And, when people say, but I have a family, I have whatever. Um, I remember I stayed in my job for the health benefits.
Mhm. Ah,
And then
isn't that ironic?
yeah, and
You
that's
stayed
what
in
it
a
is.
job that was making you sick so you would have health benefits.
Yeah, so, on my tombstone, which was gonna say she died for the health benefits. You're no good to your family if you're dead or so sick because it's stress, physical toll. In fact, your body is the first to alert you. Like your soul takes a little more time, to realize, wait a minute, this isn't fun anymore. I don't know why I'm doing this. Nothing makes me happy anymore. That takes a little more time. We can kind of, like you said, we push that awareness away instead of inviting it in. Like, what's happening to me at that level?
Where it's as simple as what brings me joy and what steals my joy. I mean, if you
Mm,
can create an awareness just in that split and decide to do more things that bring you joy and less that don't, I mean that's a huge first step in
mm,
regaining your authentic self and that soul connection for you. Because the
yeah,
more you do that, the happier you get,
it's
right?
true. Right? It's true. I'm just making sure I turn my phone off because I was reading my notes.
Oh,
Yes, exactly. I think it's a courageous thing to do. And even though, think about the last brave thing you did. All right. Before I walked out on my job due to burnout, I was remembering someone. I think you said something one day about it being a brave space to take care of yourself, to grow. It takes, yes, you want a safe space, but you need a courageous space. And I remembered during that time, like, wow, what was happening? All I did was work. All I did was work. I had a young child, I had a husband, a beautiful house, I had a nice car. I thought these things are all meaningful. Um, I remember sitting in my living room and looking at the picture of my family on the top of the television and saying, this is what matters. The car, I can walk, I can take a bus. The house, we'll find someplace else to live, but my family is everything. So it made sense to me, even though it was really hard to do.
well, and I think the first step for me, I didn't I didn't believe that I needed to take care of myself. Like,
Mm,
I kept telling myself, "I'm good. I need to take
yeah.
care of all these people." So I think
Mm,
it's first realizing that you do have to take care of yourself, right? And even as I say that, there's doubt in my mind, right? No, I
yes.
am strong, I am smart, I am capable. I got this. This is all taken care of. But the
Mhm.
truth is it's not. And
No.
the day that I realized that it wasn't, like it was a loss. I grieved the stronger version of me that I believed to be true
Yeah.
because now
Yeah.
I needed to be taken care of for God's sakes.
Yes. Oh
But
my God.
but it's the truth. And people in burnout are are like that. And people who take care of themselves don't understand that there's a lot of energy that they succeed in burnout. This is the problem. I was
Yeah. Of
highly successful and I made a lot of
course.
money. And so y'all can laugh at me that I'm not taking care of myself, but I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
I'm not even seeing the correlation
No.
between there's my headstone. She
No.
died for the insurance. Yes. And
So
so
true.
flipping that switch, I think might be the hardest thing for
It
people who
is.
are in burnout.
Yeah. I mean, and this may be a topic we get into on another day, but I remember reading that this fierce independence, I don't need anything or anybody, comes out of a trauma response.
Yeah.
And because as a child, you odds are had to do that to survive. And you didn't have like, well, should I sit here and do this? Or let's have a conversation, mom. I'm 8 years old. No, you just do the first thing that comes to mind. If you're being praised for taking care of yourself, or you have to because you won't be fed or clothed or the least bit, calm. But it's like that was then.
Yeah.
right? You don't need those childish ways anymore because you have choices that you didn't have at 8. So it's time to give that up. And I see it in my family. We are all very much like, we got to, do it ourselves, except for 2 sisters who figured out early, I'll let someone else take care of me. But it's all, even that comes from, the strategies that we form in childhood. So you don't need it anymore. That's the key.
And it's the belief that like needing help is a weakness.
Mhm.
It's the belief that putting yourself first is selfish. I
Yeah.
mean, we're taught all of these things to disregard us, and then we watch our parents work themselves into the grave, and you have to change your belief structure. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Beliefs aren't set in stone. In fact, beliefs are anything but set in stone, and you can believe whatever you want. And when you
Mhm.
start to trust what you believe, even if the outside world doesn't match that, then you
Yeah.
start to move. But the problem is, once you get into a place of burnout, you set your life up to support that. When you try to get out, all of your support structure is about keeping you in burnout.
Yeah.
And so you have to create new structures. You
Yeah.
have to create new places. And you're going to be fought by the people in your outside world telling you that you're wrong. And
Yeah.
these are all probably burnouts themselves that don't even realize it. And so it's just a really like a really sick place to be
It's
and a
so
hard
funny.
place to get out of.
We've been talking, I mean, I have read and talked about this. It's got to go on 30 years. And we still, the message is lurking around there. But I go back to something that you brought up too. If you drop into your soul, which means you've got to declutter your mind, declutter your space, and be willing, brave, to really listen to what comes up. And I used to push that down, not because I didn't know it was there, because I felt like I had to make an immediate change. If I became aware of this, I had to, quit right away.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Your soul can send you messages to keep, you alive, um, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever. And it doesn't mean that you have to do something about it immediately. It's an awareness. Awareness takes time,
Right.
you know.
Well,
And
in my case, there were parts of my job that I loved.
oh, I loved my
Parts
job.
that, yeah, fulfilled me. And when you leave a job, you leave all of that.
Hmm.
Right? And so how do you take the part that you love and create a new existence around that? That's scary too.
Yeah.
Again, because your support system's set up to keep you in that place. And so
Yes.
I loved, I was in sales for 35 years. I loved my clients. I loved going on client calls. I loved helping them. I loved it when they made money. I loved all of that.
Hmm.
So I took that piece with me when I left, but that alone wasn't sustaining. I had to create a new foundation, and so yes, there's a lot of work to be done when you decide you don't want to be burnt out anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to choose it and you have to keep choosing it every day as it gets hard. And
Yeah.
so what's the answer, Mercy? So what is it? Like
Yeah.
not
So,
am I gonna stay in burnout or am I gonna live in bliss? There's a whole lot of crap in the middle. What is
well, I think I don't believe people can make significant change if they don't have a significant faith that they can do more than they do on their own. Whether you want to call it a higher power, God, the universe, have never been able, I have to get to that point where I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to be okay. And I don't think I'm different I might feel a little like it's grace, which is an amazing concept, grace. It's like you don't you don't earn grace, you don't it's like it's there. You have to, leverage it. But I go back to the soul. Faith, right? Faith in yourself, faith in something. Because on your own, it is very challenging too. And I think that's part of the missing piece.
So I'm in this group right now, and we talk about the human and the soul,
Mm,
right? And we learn to be human, right? And take care of human needs. Um, and then, for most of us, Sunday morning, we would go and take care of the soul for a couple of hours. And, and it's the communication between the human and the soul. And they're not, I'm talking about them as separate things, but they're like
okay.
the eggs
So,
and the flour in a cake, right? It's a cake. You can't pull the eggs out of the flour. And so um, it's amazing to me that this sense is a part of so many people, right?
yeah,
I know I'm meant for more, but I
yeah.
don't know what to do,
Hmm.
right? And so I'm going to tell you what you can do. Choose joy.
Yeah,
When given the choice, choose the most joyful option. That's it.
yeah,
It can grow from there. But honestly, when you think about, I want to do this, but I should do this, do the
yeah,
joy.
yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what anybody else says, no matter what anybody else is going on, because when you do that and when you choose your soul, then
Hmm.
amazing things can happen that you never dreamed of.
Yeah, it's true. And you have to, again, this is something I've been, know about myself. You have to quit people pleasing. You have to stand up to people. You really have to examine your beliefs. Like, when I walked away from this job, six figures, and this is like 25 years ago, I was nuts. They were like, "Are you kidding?" I was stalked by my team begging me to come back. It was like nobody wanted to believe, that this was even happening. But it's the same thing. Choose joy. And you might have to have a tough conversation to do that. No, I don't choose to do that right now. I'm going to go and do this. Example: shopping brings me joy, not buying things, shopping. And I just read research that says, from a spiritual point of view, it's like from a Dalai Lama, that there's something in this discovery, curiosity, um, reacquainting yourself with who you are through your aesthetic, your style. And you know how many people, my mother thought, my mother was like, shopping, you know? So there's people still out there like, oh, I hate to shop and I hate, no, no, it brings me joy. If I don't know what else to do, I've done my walk and my yoga and whatever. And then I say, oh, I think I'll just cruise home goods, you
Well,
know?
you know what? That's a really interesting point because I hate shopping, but because I'm not present when I'm shopping, right? I am on a time limit. I am looking for something. Like
Yeah,
I just don't go out to a store where I love everything and
yeah,
touch it and feel it and visualize it in my life, right? What happens when you visualize? You create a future scenario that's better than the one that you have right now. And in
right.
doing that, that fuels the soul. That's expansive,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't go to places where they have stuff that you don't like, right? You
Right.
don't go to the taxidermy store to shop because that's not, no, you go to things that make you that are joyful to you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I would say start doing things in a different way, right? Something that annoys you that you have to do it in a different way.
yes,
Do it
yeah,
from a different chair. Do it standing up. Do it with
yeah.
music on. Change the way you do things that you have to do that aren't joyful. And then that's choosing joy.
Yeah. I mean, because even the most routine, like, they say, being in the now you can't, it's very difficult to have anxiety in the now or depression in the
Unless your house is on fire,
yeah.
there's no anxiety.
No. And I mean, yeah, there's clinical reasons for that, but it's if you do something so like wash the dishes, empty the dishwasher, which is the bane of my existence. I mean, every day I get up and say, I have to do this again. isn't 60 years of this enough? So, but yeah, so you have to, in a sense, look at something and make it a game. Make it a game.
Put on your favorite song. I bet you could unload the dishwasher in 3 minutes
Yeah.
if
Get
your
the
dishwasher
energy.
song was on,
Yeah.
right?
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like to move. I mean, I like to dance, but I don't like exercise. I do like to move. But if I'm going out for a walk, I have to have music on. I have to have music on because I won't I'm yeah, yes, I'm mindful and I'm looking around, but my pace is very slow. So,
Well well,
um,
you make a really good point because mindful sounds like engage the mind, but really it's disengage the mind. And
yes.
so when you put music on, you don't, I call it the hamster wheel in my head. The same
Yeah.
thoughts over and over and over and over, like I'm going to change something by thinking about what happened yesterday that was so bad.
Yeah.
And so it disengages the mind
Yep.
and
It
lets you
does.
into another place and actually listen to your soul. Because your
Yeah.
soul can't speak loudly if your brain is on overdrive. And
Yeah.
so that's the whole point is to disengage that thought process.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful deck. Have you ever seen the deck? We've got 2 aspen trees growing up. They turn yellow in the fall. It's just gorgeous. And I love to sit out there. But if I don't sit out there in a mindful space and I start thinking about all the things I have to do, or then it's a waste. Like I've
Yeah.
wasted all this beautiful energy because I
Mhm.
come back to my consciousness and I'm like, been here for an hour and I haven't even seen the bluebirds. Like the birds, it's a sanctuary. They literally fly over my head. But
Oh,
I don't
wow.
see them if I don't shut up my brain.
Yeah. Yeah. The monkey mind, as they call
Yeah.
it. Definitely. It gets a little easier, I think, when for me, it has become easier because I don't have the energy for it anymore. It's like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And then when I see like my daughter who's, 35 or whatever, doing this, like going over something that happened to her, telling 6 different people what happened, and I'm just like, yeah. I know how that feels. I know how that feels, and I just don't have the energy for it
And
anymore.
it's so bad. You just relive it and your brain thinks it's happening again and again and again.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah. And it takes practice, right?
yes, it does.
Decide to choose joy and practice it. You
Yeah.
have to practice it, just like learning anything. You know,
Mhm.
I watched my granddaughter try to tie her shoes, and I'm thinking, just tie the shoes, right? Just tie the shoes. But she has to practice over and over and over, just getting the first loop, and her fingers
Ooh, yeah,
on that, the first loop.
yeah.
So it's not like when you say, I don't want to be burnt out anymore, it's not a light switch.
No.
You have to, it's a dimmer switch. You have to
Yeah.
ease into that. You have to
Yes.
prepare your body and mind for a
Oh, yeah.
different way of being.
Yeah. It took me a year to feel
Yeah.
normal, somewhat normal, um, and to feel life come in again, and, just to just do the exploration of who am I. And I did find myself going to more spiritual places because, you kind of go back a little bit to what you know.
Yeah.
And if you feel soulful in a certain place, like that's the beauty of music and art. It doesn't go through your head. It
Mhm.
goes around and down, heart to soul.
Yeah.
So it's one way to circumvent and stop the monkey mind, the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So if that gives you joy, I mean, I played clarinet in this first book for 3 years. I never practiced,
Wow.
but of course, now I still love music. I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. So yeah,
Right. Right. Well, and yeah, and you have to practice engaging that soul and make it a priority,
yeah,
right? So burnout comes from not making ourselves a priority. So be a little selfish and lead with soul.
yeah,
Ask soul first, even if
yep,
you have to do something else, you know there was an alternative and you're aware of it and you can bring as much of it as you can. And it's not hard, but it's challenging because we're conditioned to live a different way. It's overcoming your conditioning.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
wanted to run a marathon. If you're not a runner, right, you run around the block first,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And that's what you have to do. And as you feel better, acknowledge I feel better.
Yeah. Acknowledge it. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Reap the rewards.
Yeah.
And, like running a marathon, um, my trainer at the time, he called, I said, I'm going to do this. And he trains people all the time. I wasn't a runner or hadn't been for years. And day one, okay, get your sneakers. Put them by the front door. Is that it? That's training day number one? Yeah. Training day number two. Okay, put your sneakers on. Okay, now what? That's it. I'll call you tomorrow. Training number three. Day three. Put your sneakers on and walk to the mailbox. By that point, I was like, I'm walking down the block and you can't stop me.
Right.
So it's like chunk it out, and then you're like excited. You're almost become like, again, back to that childish joy. I wonder what it would be like to run around the block.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and coming back to burnout, you can't fix burnout the same way you got there. Right? You can't push your way through burnout. You
No.
can't force burnout out. I mean, and so it has to take a complete shift in who you are, or else you're going to be frustrated and you're going to carry that around forever. And that's the hardest thing because, being achievers like you and I are, we know how to fix things. But that's what got us into burnout,
Yeah,
right? We
exactly.
have to unravel it. And that's not comfortable for most of us.
Yeah.
And that's why there's still burnout. And if somebody says to you, I can fix your burnout in, 4 easy sessions, don't believe them.
Yeah, no.
4 years, maybe invest in that one, but not
Yeah,
4 seconds because it just takes time. The good news is every time you do it and you feel a little bit better and you wake up in the morning and your body feels a little bit better and and food tastes better and everything gets better along the way, then it's a great journey to take. Maybe
yeah,
you'll never be unburned, but you certainly will enjoy the process of getting there.
yeah, exactly. And I think on that note, we'll complete today, and stay tuned for what else we come up with in the meantime.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks, Mercy.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.